Hey guys, I'm just about to go out shoveling. But before I do, I had some guys ask just how much better can sentence spinning be than paragraph spinning. I know that this is interesting to you. It is interesting. It has a lot to do with how much more power you can get out of a single project, and it actually totally affects strategy. Let me see if I can make that point somehow clear real quick. Let's say this. In the old days, well, this is true, not long ago, we were doing paragraph spinning. So each cell here would represent an entire paragraph. Okay, let's say a paragraph was 3 sentences. Okay, just to make the point simple. All right, these don't have to be equal like this. There can be 4 variations, 3 variations, 2, just 1, and then on and on and on. But I'm just trying to make this clear. So anyway, let's say this represents 3 sentences. This represents an alternate version of those 3 sentences, basically a rewrite of those 3 sentences. It means the same thing as this, but it's worded very differently. And then a third variation. Okay, this is the next paragraph down on the page, and the variation and another variation of that paragraph. So maybe the first page would take up like these 5 paragraphs, and then page 2 might take up the next 4. Page 3 might take up the next 6. Okay, and then they have their own variations. Okay, just to keep it simple, we'd send the entire project to somebody and say do a rewrite, and then send it to someone else, say do a rewrite, and we wind up with variability. Okay, so what does that mean in terms of variation? You get 3 groups of 3 groups of 3 groups of 3 groups, and so on, right? That's cool. It's useful. It's big. It's a lot of variation. Still, though, it's paragraphs, whole chunks. Now we're going to break it down. We're going to say, I don't want the same paragraphs to appear on pages, like at all, all right? How much extra effort does that take? Okay, let me break that down because I know this is interesting to pretty much all of us. So I'm just going to say, let's focus on one part of it, like this part only, just 3 paragraphs. Okay, so I'm going to clear all this other stuff to get it out of view so that we can just concentrate on what we're talking about. Okay, so we've got 3 sets of 3, right? That's 3 possibilities for what we're using for the first paragraph times 3 for the next times 3 for the next. That is 27 total variations, right? 3 groups times 3 groups times 3 groups, basically 3 of 3 of 3. Okay, that's 27 combinations. So then, how much better can sentence spinning be? You might think, okay, maybe that should be like 100 or 200 or 500. Let's see. So instead of 3 sentences and another 3 and another 3, and that's what all this is supposed to be, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, right? So it's a total of 3 times 9 is 27 total sentences. But instead of that, we're going to break it down to sentence level. So we're going to take each of the 3 sentences and spread them out. So obviously we got to go out 9, right? 3 of 3 that way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. And then same with these, right? So they go out. So that is considered the same content, the same volume of content, all the same content. No one rewrote anything. It's just that now, instead of working by the paragraph, we're working by the sentence. But here's the other thing that we did. I want to make this point clear. I'll just kind of put that over there out of the way. We decided we're going to go deeper. So we took this thing down to 11, okay, for our last production. So now what do we have? We have 11 possibilities times 11 possibilities goes on for 9 cases, right? So going from paragraph to sentence, and then basically 4 times the total volume, right? We had 3 variations. Now we almost have 12, okay? We have almost 12. So we have nearly 4 times the content written out. So if we said that we had 27 sentences before, okay, well, what do we have now? It's basically, it's almost 4 times that. You could basically say 100 total sentences in here, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Am I right? How many, oh, I see what we're saying. We're saying 11 times 9. Yeah, 99. 99 total sentences, okay? Fine. All right, and that was variations also, but this isn't 99 variations anymore, is it? No, this is 11 raised to the 9. What is that number? Let's take a look at that. 11 times 11 times 11 times 11 is 11 raised to the ninth power. Okay, we've got over 2 billion results. Okay, 2.33 billion combinations possible off of that. Now, that's not all, because within the sentences now, we get to put in tokens. Okay, so let me try to make this point clear. We have our city token would look like that, right? You know, basically. It could be whatever, but this is what we're using. This is our keyword token. Okay. Oh, and service. Let me not forget service. Cut, paste. Whoop. Okay, let me be clear about what those mean. Means this. Where would the company be working? Maybe he's working in South Bend, Indiana, so he's handling the surrounding cities, South Bend, Mishawaka, Elkhart, Goshen, Niles, kind of my hometown. So he's in that area, right? So that could be 10 surrounding cities. Now, how many services does he provide? Well, a plumber, say. You know, sump pump, broken pipe, toilet fix, whatever else. If you go on and on, you could probably say he does like 15 total services. Some a lot more commonly than others, but there you have it. Now, how many keywords within each service? Because so far that's what we have. We have this service, 15 services that can be performed in 10 different cities, which is 150 geo-targeted keywords, right? South Bend, sump pump repair. Mishawaka, sump pump repair. Elkhart, sump pump repair. Goshen, sump pump repair. Different pages. That's our goal, different pages, okay? With all the sentence combinations, we have different pages there. Now, how many keywords within each service? Because again, we're trying to do this kind of math sensibly. Let's say there are 4 variations of the keyword, maybe 5. What do you want to say? Like 4, you know, an average. And I mean, it should be more, right? It should be anywhere from like 3 to 10. We could probably say 5 pretty easily as an average, right? So then what do we have? We have 150 times 5. So that's like 750, you know, variations there. So what does that mean? Well, that means that we're using one of these, say, if we were using one of these in here, then we actually don't just have 11 variations possible. We have 11 times 10 different cases. So then this would actually be 110. This particular column would represent 110 possibilities. Let's say we've got the service in here somewhere. Maybe it goes here. Well, we got 15 times 11 cases now, right? So this is the original 11 cases, but with a different service focus. If we assume that just changing the city is enough for that sentence, for Google to say, okay, I see that that sentence applies to different people in a different city, and that Google considers that, therefore, a different sentence, then we're right to say 10 times 11, 110 sentence combinations. And then service. Take that and go deeper. It's 11 times 15, right? Which is what? 110 plus 55 is 165. So we have like 110, 165. And then what do we have? We have keywords. So say we got keyword in like that column there. So this is no longer just 11 cases anymore, is it? It's 11 times 5 is 55. So do you realize how interesting that is? We have to actually redo our math, don't we? So let's say we had those 3 columns. Let's set 3 columns aside for a minute. Let's just do the rest of the columns the way we did them, because they're the same. They are unchanged. You know, it's not like you would have the city here and the city there, and then say maybe you're using one city here and another city there. No, because you're going to, you know, who's going to say, looking for a Chicago plumber in San Diego? That doesn't make sense. So that's out of the question. And for common sense, we're not trying to say, are you looking for a sump pump repair guy or a broken faucet repair guy? Because that also is just too vague for the page. So we're assuming each page has a focus, a city focus, a service focus, and a keyword focus. So we're not going to go any further than this with our numbers. Okay? All right. So what do we really have? We have 11 times 11 times 11 times 11 times 11 times 11. Dang it. Right there. So that's 11 raised to the 7. And then we have our last 3 combinations to multiply by. Times 110, times 165, times 55. So let's try that. Let's say 11 raised to the 6. Okay? Clear, right? Yeah. All right. 11 raised to the 6 equals that many times, okay, what did we say? We said times 110 times 165 times 55. It's a number so big, it's insane, right? We're talking about like 1.8 trillion possibilities here, right? Or is that, yeah, millions, billions, yeah, trillions, 1.8 trillion possibilities here. 1.8 trillion web pages where at least one thing changes. Let's say we need more than one thing to change, and so only like, that's like what, 11 rows, basically 10. So we're going to say that if 2 rows change, that's more like not just, 1% or 10, but 2. So let's say, what if we could only get 1% of that total result, right? For unique web pages times 0.01 equals, then we still got 17.5 billion possibilities. Well, let's say we could only get 1% of that, right? 1% of that. We still got 176 million. So let's say we can only get 1% of that, really. We're still talking about 1,800,000 web pages, which is enough for 100 websites. If each had 18,000 web pages based on that same combination, you got 100 websites, times, what is that? Sorry, 18,000 combination, 18,000 pages, right? That's insanely huge, right? And that is and before, again, with paragraph spinning without nested variables, we had 27 combinations. Now, if you assume the tiniest, and that's 27 where one thing changes. Imagine if you had to have 2 things change. That number's like 5. We just changed that without having to work harder, but smarter. Now that we have the programming in place to make that doable, so that we can take our number and go, what if we could only get 1% of 1% of 1% of that? It's still enough content for 100 web pages. You know what else it means? It means we can make unlimited landing pages that are short, simple, sweet, and to the point, right? For guys. And they can be even for making perfect AdWords, right? AdWords with great quality scores. And pages that are really solid for the internet. And they can be on tons of websites. And this is with smaller, tighter, laser-focused copywriting jobs. And we are only talking about 100 sentences here, 99. Say each sentence has 10 words. You're talking about 990 words. Basically 1,000 words to work with. And aside from that, your different, stacks of like keyword and location, right? Because geo, keyword, right? Geo-targeted keywords gives us that breakdown. So yeah, that's how far we can go. And that's effectively for a 15-page website, 15 services. And each of those 15 pages is swapping between about 5 keywords times 10 cities. So each of these has 50 variations. Each of these 15 pages has 50 conceptual variations. And then from there, just building in the rest of the uniqueness is that. All right, I hope that makes sense. I hope you understand what I mean. And this is why this next move we're taking is massive. There is so much material and fodder in terms of uniqueness that we could actually, if we really wanted to, since it's such a high and tight procedure, we can make sure that each of these sentences, this is one sentence at a time, has a variable in it. Some variable. I don't care if you want to say top, right? Landscaping company. Well, wasn't landscaping company or landscaping, a keyword? And then company a keyword, like company or professionals or experts? Well, we can make the word top a variable. It could be top, best, top rated, whatever, best rated. most popular, anything like that. And all I mean by that is we can find a way to have a sensible variable inside each sentence. So if we have a sensible variable inside each sentence, then as we're writing the variations, we'll have a sensible variable inside each of these sentences, and even some that just interchange. This could say, company is the best in the area. This could say, call us now at whatever the phone number is. This could say, well, anything else. We're the best, whatever it is, right? And then this could say something else. So the point of doing the project is exactly to create so much variability that literally out of one, even before all that stuff, right? Where were we even? Out of 1.768 billion results, every sentence can physically be unique. And if every single sentence is unique, short, sweet, with one or two or even three variables, because you can, right? Best sump pump pipe fitters in Chicago. And the word best could be the other variable, top, best rated, top rated, most popular, whatever. Then you're literally talking about a single sentence composed of 4 variations. Does this anchor back to doing variations by the word? No. Spinning by the word gives you, especially if you're trying to do it that way, grammatically weird combinations. We don't want that. We don't need that. We don't need to spin every word. This is a different thought process because the content editors are formulating the individual sentences and deciding within each sentence carefully how the variables work within that sentence to make sure that it works. And yet, it's a tight-knit, clean job. Okay? All right, that's the point I want to make. I'm going to run outside, get some shoveling in. Hope you guys found that interesting. This is the future of where we're going, and this is how it's going to be now for all the projects we ever do. That's going to be the end of any questions about uniqueness of content on websites we produce. There will be no limit anymore at all. Not at all. Okay? So the projection or the products that we're doing, the projects that we're doing, the 5 new industries we're putting out, all you guys getting positions in them, trying to understand how much better they are, even than the first 2 we put out, right? And we are redoing the first 2 to keep up with the new standards. We're not leaving any of the projects behind. Therefore, we're not leaving anyone behind who has been helping us get this far, okay? So absolutely, this is coming live, and probably this week is going to be the final week. A lot of weather-induced interruptions and some other things. A wedding got in the way. Somebody's mother had a real bad problem with blood pressure that forced somebody to travel for 3 hours totally out of the area to see her mom. And so these things they get in the way, but they're minor, short-term delays, and then we're back on track. So anyway, that's where we're going, and now you can conceptualize how much power is in that, so you can understand why you want to get in it all. And for those of you who are in, you understand why you're in, and if you feel like adding to it, go for it, and it's wise, because there is going to be no limit to what we put out. So the only thing we'll have to do, because everything else is basically automated and easy to handle, the only thing we'll have left to do for the projects is running the robotexts, to get guys on their projects, because we can guarantee them uniqueness all for their cities. And what was I going to say? The robot to get guys running, get guys buying websites, and just external backlinking, right? Backlinking, done right. Guess what? With all this content we can create, do you think we can create the press articles just by grabbing some of these variations that we're just jetting out? Heck yeah, grab the variation articles. Grab some of the variations. Just take some. Like a second run that doesn't get turned into a sitemap. Okay? We'll just take them and use that as our article releases for backlinks. Okay? We can even put in variables for external backlinks to related non-competitive sources. Okay? So that Google loves what they see. and internal backlinks pointing at our other sites, right? Our sites, cycling between them to get juice through everything. Okay? Yeah. So this is awesome, and we're really, really close to just automated production. All right. I hope you liked it.